Today on CityLine, uplifting artists and sharing untold stories and the upcoming events and exhibits highlighting all perspectives. Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm Rondella Richardson, in for Jessica Brown. The Roxbury International Film Festival celebrates films by, for, and about people of color. This year's in-person event runs from June 18th to the 26th. It will showcase over 100 films, including narratives, documentaries, and animated. Joining me now is Lisa Simmons, artistic and executive director of the festival. Thanks so much for being here. This is exciting.
It is exciting. Thanks for having me.
It's kind of a perennial thing. This is the 28th year of our festival. As always, it will feature film showings and Q&As and filmmakers and panel discussions, networking opportunities, which are so important.
Very important.
But there's always something new. What is new this year, and what are some of the highlights that you're most excited about?
Oh my gosh, it's so hard to say that. We have 104 films, or actually probably more than that, because we have the next generation student films from the Boston Arts Academy, Raw Arts, and from across the country. So we have a number of films. We're opening with the Clyde Best story, a story about Clyde Best, who basically integrated soccer, went from 17 years old in Bermuda and was brought over to West Ham to play. So he's going to be here with Ade Coker is going to be here. So that's our opening night film, and it's really important. The film tells a lot about what the festival is about, and it's about erasure, right? It's about making sure that we are telling stories as our stories are going away every day, right? To actually sort of like right that wrong by making sure that we're showing films that are about people, about places that you might not already know about.
You mentioned transforming the beautiful game, a powerful, the Clyde Best story. Let's take a little peek. Here's a trailer.
18-year-old Bermudan Clyde Best.
Match of the Day came on, and I saw a black face, and it was Clyde Best.
Good challenging by Clyde Best.
This big fella can play. He's black and he can play.
Why was this film chosen to start the festival? It looks so powerful.
It has so many elements about what we want the rest of the festival to be and feel like, and that is about history, it's about mentorship, it's about inspiration, it's about education, right? There are so many aspects of it that sort of like kick off the festival so people know what else they're going to see throughout the 8-9 days that the festival is in person and even online. So it's really important that we sort of seed it that right way, right? And so we're really excited. We're really excited.
And it's a good, people need to know the name, Clyde Best. You're
they
probably
do.
Putting it in their world for the first time. How does this amplify stories about people of color, and why is that so critical right now?
I think it's really critical now, as I was talking about before, about how there's so much that is being taken away, right? That I think that media and film and this genre is, it's in our lives every day. We see it every day, whether we're on YouTube or Instagram or something, and so you're constantly bombarded. So we feel like it's important that we're bringing these truthful stories, these stories about people and places and events that people might not know about. And it's important. We're not a monolith, right? We have so many types of stories that we all need, just as people of color, to understand and embrace, and also for audience members to understand that there is a whole generation, there is a whole group of people who may be losing out on a lot of these stories that need to see them, and that we need to be inspired by them too. We need inspiration and joy. There's a lot of joy.
I love that we have this platform here locally for this. How does the festival empower the creators also?
I think it's important. We love to think of ourselves as a filmmaker festival, and I think filmmakers feel the same way. It's very important for us to have filmmakers at the festival to engage with audience members who are coming to their screening. So we have probably 90% participation, which is wonderful. And of course, you're always empowered. You see your film on the big screen, you get reactions from audience members, you get to talk to people about your films, you get to network, which is such an important part of being in an independent film festival, is getting to know other creators, and they learn from each other, and they will more undoubtedly be in other festivals together. And it just builds this sense of network and camaraderie, which I think is really important.
So interactive, especially when you have the daily script program.
Oh my gosh.
The daily script read program, it's returning this year. It's like the table reads for the actors in Hollywood, I guess, right? It's the scripts by RoxFilm alumni are read by the professional local actors, and this just gives the audience a chance to really hear the work in progress. How does this program support local screenwriters and actors?
It's so awesome. I mean, it's so awesome. And we were actually looking at our web page with all the actors that have been part of this program, which we started during COVID. And it's just this beautiful array of these actors of color. So go to it, go to the website, look at this. And it's, you know, you need a chance to hear your script read. That's really important as a writer. It's really important to do that. And so giving writers the opportunity to hear that, and then giving actors the opportunity to be part of it is just as important. So it's a win-win for both the writers and the actors, and for us as the audience members. It's at noon every day. Take your lunch, eat your lunch, watch it. It's on Zoom.
Electric atmosphere.
Yes.
I can only imagine that. Okay, when the in-person festival wraps up, it will continue, of course, online. What are you thinking about this festival in terms of what it really offers?
I mean, I think it offers an opportunity to see yourself in film and see yourself in a space where you might not normally see it in mainstream media, right? I think that's one of the things. The questions we often get too is, well, where can I see that again? And am I going to be able to see that again? And oftentimes you're not. You're going to see a film at an independent film festival. It might go on to another festival that's outside of Massachusetts, but more than likely, you know, you're not going to unless you're following that particular filmmaker and they're putting it up on YouTube. So it's really, really important to come out. It's really important to come see. And we've got a film that's closing with Jesse Williams, Paris, and a place in Paris that really supported Black artists and Black people. So that's really important. And we have a film on Alzheimer's, which, you know, dealing with and being a caregiver, that's happening also. So these are the kind of films, sort of like, we want people to be educated, we want people to be inspired by other people. And so I think that's what the festival does, and those are the types of films that we have.
It's such an important piece of our history that we can put on a big stage for everyone to enjoy. Thank you so much for making sure people know about it and bringing it back. 28 years, that's a long time.
I know. We're really excited about that.
Okay, thank you. You can attend the Roxbury International Film Festival from June 18th through June 26th. It's happening at several venues, including the Museum of Fine Arts Boston and the Mass College of Art and Design. The online festival goes right until June 26th through July 2nd. We have a link with more information on our website. Coming up, offering a more complete version of our history, how the Museum of Fine Arts Boston is marking 250 years of American independence with a major reinstallation.